I've just arrived back to the boat. It is the 30th of December, so Christmas is just passed. We're waiting for New Year now, coming up in the next 2 days. So I've just come back to the boat. I haven't been here in weeks, so just arrived in off the bus, just got onto the boat. There's a big fun fair. Let's have a look at that, which is it's just popped up on the on the quay side. But I've arrived back down into the boat and I have the heaters on. The humidifier was running, so everything is nice and crisp and toasty, and it's all looking really good. So I'll just go up and get some food and then watch a film tonight, and tomorrow I'm going to start the job of replacing the exhaust elbow. So I have a new one brought down with me, a nice stainless steel one, and I'm not even going to start doing anything in that tonight. I'm tired. I've been working already today, working this morning, so I'm just going to go grab some Indian food and a couple of beers, chill out in my nice dry warm boat, and hopefully the fun fair won't keep me up too late, and start to work tomorrow. Now it is 8:56 a.m. and I'm just about to start work on changing the exhaust elbow. So I have the new exhaust elbow here, lovely stainless steel one. I've also got the gasket, which is very important, change that as well. And I have a socket set, and I've got various other tools. Now I'll just show you where the exhaust elbow actually is on this engine. Right in behind the airbox, and down here it's black because I did take it off before about a year ago, and I cleaned out the inside of it, and it wasn't looking great at the time. I probably should have changed it, but I just sprayed it black and put it back on. So we've got to take off some Jubilee clips. That's a little pipe, that green pipe on the top there, that's quite difficult to take off. Then there's the main pipe on the bottom that connects to it. And then we've got 4 bolts in there to take off. I'll take the air filter off first. It'll just make it a little bit handier to get a bit more access. And then I'll open up the side access panels on the boat to get in at the engine. Because in the back bedroom, the aft cabin, we have this boat, an extra access panel here. And this should allow a little bit easier to get in there at that elbow. That's the exhaust elbow down there. Okay, so let's start work. 8:56 a.m. Well, let's see how long it's going to take to replace this. Let's start by removing the air filter. It's just this Jubilee clip here. Do that, the air filter comes loose. Yeah, air filter's away. Lift that out. Air filter has now been removed. It's only a Jubilee clip that holds it on. And now we've got some good access down to our elbow. Okay, we'll get rid of those other Jubilee clips now. We'll open them and then start taking off the bolts. Now the last nut on the bottom here, and just about to see it, I'll get my finger in, it's this one here. That you will need to use a socket for, because it's kind of hidden behind a bracket, which makes it a little bit difficult, so you will need a socket for that one. So out with the 12mm socket and let's see how we go. All the other 3 are already loose. Okay, all of the nuts are off. There is a little bracket that's held on the bottom with the bottom two studs. So I'm just going to have a look and see if I can remove that, just to make it handy to take the elbow off. And as you can see, the top hose has just slid off its little spigot. Big problem is going to be getting the next hose off the end of the exhaust elbow, because that tends to melt onto it. So we'll have some fun with that. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take the other end of the hose off, the end that goes onto the exhaust pipe there, and then I'm going to take the whole hose and exhaust elbow off in one piece, and that way I can separate the hose from the exhaust elbow out in the cockpit where I have a bit more space. So I have the old elbow with hose out on the cockpit table, kind of covered in here. I have the winter tent up. I'm on the river in Waterford. It's nice and steady. Miserable day outside, but fine for what I'm doing. I'm tucked up nice and warm in my little tent here. So this is the new one, lovely and shiny. This is the old one. Now let's see if we can get better pictures of this. But I now have to remove obviously the top little rubber hose, and I have to remove this hose off the back. Okay, so we'll have a little go with that. If you're going to try this the way I'm doing it here with a screwdriver, trying to just release the seal between the rubber tube and the actual elbow, be extremely careful. I've only got one rubber glove, which is ridiculous. I've nothing on this hand. If this screwdriver slips, it will very quickly impale itself in my hand. So just be very, very careful if you're going to use a screwdriver to do anything where you have your hand vulnerable. So I'm careful not to put too much forward pressure. I'm just kind of wiggling the screwdriver underneath, rotating it around, just to try and release that off. Now, sometimes we use a kettle of hot water and we're trying to get rubber tubes on in the heating industry. It's where I work now, so that does make a hell of a difference. So I'm going to try that in a minute if I'm not having any more luck here. Last resort, had to get a sailing glove and put it on, because I just know I'm going to go home with a cut somewhere on one of my hands. So yeah, cover up the hands. I've just put a tea towel down there as well, just to stop the table getting marked. You can actually hear the actual tube coming away, and you can actually hear the cracking of the plastic away from the steel, so you kind of know that, right, that's another bit that's free. Time to spray a bit of lubricating oil down here. Let's see if it'll help slide this off. managed to rotate it, which means it is ready to come off. Hey! Success! I have removed the elbow. Now let's have a good look at this. Okay. Yeah, it's gone incredibly thin on this particular wall in here. It's actually started to erode away. Yeah, and you can see some. Actually, it's just as well I actually got to this when I did. It has actually eroded away in there because there's a slight bit of seawater making its way out, and it has eroded here. And that wasn't going to be too long before that in there became a hole, and the exhaust would just be belting out into the bilge of the boat. The other end of it, well and truly corroded up on the inside. Okay, and there's our little spout at the top. So look how bad that is. That's where the seawater gets injected in. As you can see, she's badly corroded. So obviously the engine was being kept as cool as it should have been. Just for reference, there's a new one. A new one? Yeah. So this here is the exhaust port, and quite awkward for me to see it without using the camera because the engine is blocked in at the back. But you can see there has been a fair bit of corrosion around the inlet, I should say the outlet there, and it's gone a bit chalky, but I think it's okay. I think I got it probably just in time. Okay, we've cleaned this up a little bit and then get the new gasket on. Just give you a quick shot of the tool that I'm using to tighten up the Jubilee clips. It's a draper tool, and it's definitely something you're going to need to have before you start this job. Makes life so much handier. Last job now is to reattach the hose onto the exhaust pipe. So on with the clips. Time to put back on the air filter and we will be ready to go. Now it is a shame I didn't actually get a new air filter, but it only takes a couple of seconds to take one off and put one on, so I'll definitely replace that before the summer season starts. It is now 10:41 and the job is complete. All that's left now is to start the engine, make sure there's no leaks. So an hour and 41 minutes is pretty much what it's taken. You could say an hour and a half because a brother of mine did call me and we had a little conversation there halfway through the job. So yeah, it's incredibly tight working on that engine. Luckily for me, I'm not a huge guy and I'm fairly reasonably slim, and I can slide in around the engine, and but definitely you do need to be kind of fit, and you do need to be able to twist and operate on your hands and knees and crawl around the place and do things like that. So it took me an hour and a half to do the elbow. It was full on, a lot of grunting, and as you can see there with the screwdrivers pulling, trying to get the bloody hose off, which was probably the most difficult part of the job. A couple of tools you will need, and there's no point in starting this job unless you've got them. Make sure you've got some gloves for a start. You'll need a 12mm swan neck spanner plus a normal 12mm ring spanner. Don't really think you need the socket set at all. You'll need that tool that I had there for taking off Jubilee clips, and they're not expensive to buy, and something you should definitely have on the boat. And you need a couple of flat blade screwdrivers and a little can of WD-40 or something similar to that. I would, if I was doing this again, I'd probably change that hose, that exhaust hose that came from the elbow down to the exhaust. I'd probably put a new one on. Also the little hose on the top that goes between the engine block and the new exhaust elbow, a little 90-degree hose, I'd probably change that as well. And definitely the air filter, you have the thing off. I think every time you take the air filter off to do a job, you know, you should really go and throw a new one on. They're not expensive, well, they're not hugely expensive. Okay, let's start the engine. Engine is up and running. All looks good. No leaks around the top elbow. Looks okay down there on the bottom as well. And actually touch the elbow. Nice and cool. I wouldn't do that when the engine's been running for a while. Let's have a look in here. Make sure we're okay down this end. That looks good. Let's just get a hand down underneath. Yeah, it's found right.